Hello, welcome to our trading session. So I am just getting up an app to allow you guys to chat with me, those of you that are here live, if you have questions. But for those who aren't live, you've got my email address there, which you should be able to see, becky@tradewithufos.com. So you can email me if you have any questions. And I'll also show you another place you can go if you have questions or want to understand maybe a little bit more about the different resources that you could use. Now, I'll explain all that in a minute, but I'm just going to put up the disclaimers. Here they are on the top left-hand side of the screen. So please read them just to make sure that you are fully aware of what to expect from these kind of videos and these kind of sessions. Now, take my glasses off today. Brilliant. So we are doing trading and review, which is not necessarily asset class specific. So I'm going to be looking at stock trades, currency trades, and crypto trades as well. See what we come up with. I'll use scans for some of it to be a bit more efficient. Other ones we're just going to have to go through manually, see what we find, see if there's any particular opportunities today. Now, I'm also going to try and do different time frames as well to give you guys, depending on what you're trading, an idea of what that could look like in terms of what might fit more with your trade plan. If I'm trading 3 different asset classes on at least 3 different time frames, probably all of them don't fit with your trade plan. And of course, we want to make sure that we're always trading in a way that aligns with our own risk profile, with our own time of day that we're free, with our own style of trading, capital allocation, all of those things. So I'll give you different examples so that hopefully whatever you're trading or however you're trading, you get an idea from it. So just to highlight a couple of things then. So you've got my email address here, becky@tradewithufos.com. You've also got, let me just bring this up here. I think it will be this one. tradewithufos.com/Becky. That's the link there. Now, that link will take you to this page. And from this page, you can look more into the apps that we use, some of which are free. You can look into courses that we offer that are very reasonable and come with access to the apps. Coaching, so general coaching that we do. You can also book one-on-one coaching if you'd like. There's also an area here to learn from some past trades, to see how we manage trades, what happened to them, and look at the snapshots as well to see how that developed. If you scroll down, again, you've got different information here on the platforms that we use and the apps associated with them. About Predictive Options Planner, which is our platform. I'll use that today to show you some of the tools that you can use there. And this bit at the bottom, it's probably your most useful bit if you have questions. It's a question and answer session. So you can come into this, ask questions, and we'll answer it here. Other people can then see the answers, which enables people to learn from this area together. So without further ado, let's get into looking at a few different markets. Now, just going to put up on the screen here our Speak Up chat room, basically. So if you download the Speak Up app, so if you go to your App Store or Google Play or whatever and search for Speak Up, you can download the app, and then you'll see on the screen there what the room key is. So you literally just type in that room key, which is 64549. And then what will happen is you can come into a private chat room here where you can ask me questions, and it's anonymous. So sometimes on social media or public platforms, people don't want to necessarily ask questions. They might feel a little bit embarrassed or uncomfortable for whatever reason. So we've got this as an alternative so that you can ask questions in a way where no one's going to see who it is that's asking that question. And then I can just answer them and you can get the most from this session. That's obviously relevant to those of you that are here live. Hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions on how to access that, I do have the general chat here available as well. So you can ask me on that as to how you get to it. And I will check in every now and then. Okay, let's go look at some trades. So I am going to go straight to Predictive Options Planner here, which is our platform, to look at some scans that we can use to help be a little bit more efficient with the opportunities that we look for. If you have a TradeStation account or loads of other platforms will also have scans. I'm just using Top because that's what I use to look for scans. But it's the same principle. So I'm looking for all stocks Minimum price of $10, maximum price of 300. Again, you could change those around. I'm just doing that because it's probably no point for a lot of people looking at stocks that are valued at thousands of dollars a share, because you're not going to be able to manage your risk very well with that, or it's a much greater allocation towards one trade. So I'm just keeping that cap to, reasonable number, but of course that number is going to be different for everybody. You change that yourself. Looking at all US exchange, all US stocks and ETFs. What I'm going to look for, before we do that, what I'm going to look for is auto climate and looking at stocks that have probability one way or the other. To figure out which way we want to look for, I'm just going to look at what the ES is doing. So at ES. Now I'm looking at a weekly chart on the left-hand side. So for our stock trades, we're going to be looking at long-term swing trading or position trading. So on the left-hand side on the ES, which is the futures contract that represents the S&P 500, which is the top 500 US stocks, basically. It's a representation of what the US stock market is doing. On a weekly chart, we've got a thick blue dot, meaning probability is upwards, meaning I want to look for stocks that also have probability upwards. You can trade stocks that don't have probability upwards, that's fine, but just want to be aligning ourselves if we can, adding that extra probability. Now we've still got quite a big long list, so I'm going to filter this down a little bit more, and I'm going to say I want us to look at stocks that are early into that movement to the upside, giving us more room to the top there. Might still have loads of trades we could look at, but slightly smaller list. I'm just going to go through it alphabetically so that we look at each one and we'll see what opportunities we have. Just because they're all on this list does not mean all of them are still tradable according to our rules, even maybe less or more according to your rules, depending on how many rules you have, basically. So again, just to let you know to check in on Speak Up if you have any questions. But what I'll do is I'm going to take that off of the screen for the time being, just because it might be in the way of what we see here. So the room key is 64549. If you go to Speak Up and add that in, you'll be able to join the chat room. So I'm going to take that off of the screen for now so that we don't have anything obscuring our auto climate. Okay, so we have a thick blue dot. This is ABCL, that's the symbol. ABCL, probability upwards. We have sellers kind of close, but we'll see what we find as to what might work here. Now, we want to find essentially a green UFO on the right-hand side that coincides with the EMA price on the left-hand side. If you need more context on that, check out previous videos or some of our courses as well that will help you to understand that better. So nothing on this chart, nothing on the daily either. I'm going to look at the 3-day, nothing there. On the 144, nothing there either. I'm going to cycle through timeframes on the right-hand side. I'm only going to look at 4. You could, in theory, look at many, but I only want to look at 4 to find what our best opportunity is or see where the opportunity could be. So I'm now going to look for green UFOs on the right-hand side that coincide with this, so 21.11. So nothing on this one. We do have one on this one. This is the daily chart. If it's finished loading, which it looks like it has, I actually wouldn't trade this. And I'll tell you why. So we've got this number up here, 39.62%. That number is telling us essentially the probability rate of the UFOs. It's not an exact science because it's the probability rate that price moves between UFOs. So it's probability, but that doesn't mean risk to reward is good, could be amazing. It's just that price moves between UFOs. So we've got a 39% probability rate. That for me is not good enough. I would like to see at least a 50%. Again, you could be less strict or more strict on that, depending on your risk tolerance. For me, I'm going to go for a minimum of 50%. So on a daily chart of ACI now, we've got a UFO that lines up with the EMA, but it's not good enough probability for me at least. So we'll move on. So on the 2-day, let's just make sure that is loading or has loaded. Brilliant. Great. This has loaded. So the 2-day does have. So again, we've got a UFO, green UFO on the right-hand side that coincides with the EMA on the left-hand side, and it's got a 52% probability rate. So that's a decent enough probability. We'll look at a 3-day chart as well. Just seen here a question, is there a document that explains the autoclimate categories in detail? Yes. So once you have autoclimate, in fact, this should be on the website. Let me take you to it. Once you have autoclimate, you should get essentially a PDF user guide, which will explain exactly what it means. But if I go, I think you've got to be logged in to do it. So log in to check this, but I'll check it out on apps. You might be able to find it directly here. Okay, so that's a video. So potentially, okay, so I think you need to be logged in order to download it from the website, or if not, you can just email us, which is support@tradewithufos.com, and we will send you a user guide. It's a few pages long, and it will explain in more depth, of course, how to use it and what it means. Now, just to give you an overview, she said autoclimate categories. So I'm assuming that you mean the different colors and the size of dots and things like that. So I will give you a very quick overview now, which is essentially all you need to know. You might also mean, I'm thinking of categories, what these numbers are down here. So I'll give you a quick overview. Thick blue dot means probability up. Thick red dot means probability down. Thin dot of either color means not enough probability either way. So that's kind of high level what you need to know. Now there's, of course, slightly more depth into this. So we've got, you'll see the count here. So basically what you have here is the amount of candles, essentially, that price usually goes up for. That's the first number here. So this is 5. Price usually goes up for 5 candles. Then you've got how long price usually goes down for, in this case, 3 candles. And then you've got the current, how long price has currently been going in the direction that it's going in. So that basically tells you whereabouts on a typical movement you're at. Are you towards the start of the movement, towards the end, gone past it, or somewhere in the middle? And then these numbers on the left-hand side give us essentially current price's distance to the EMA as a multiple of an ATR. So that's, again, a high-level explanation, but the user guide should help. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. If you log in, you should be able to see it under the app section, or if not, you can email us to ask for that user guide. Hopefully that makes sense. Let me know and speak up if you've got any more questions on that. Okay, so coming back to opportunity, we've got a 2-day opportunity here. However, I'm going to look at the 3-day and see if we've got a bigger number around about the same price. And we don't. We've got a higher probability, but no UFOs. So no trade if we've got no UFOs. So our first trade of the day is a stock trade. ACI is the symbol. And we are looking at a long opportunity. In terms of our final target, we've got quite a decent amount of room to take this. So let's put this in. Now, let me bring up, I'm going to just bring up a sticky note here, which we can use to write this out for you so you guys can take it a step at a time. So the ticker symbol is ACI. The earnings, let's look at TradingView for that. So we'll come back to that. We're going to go long in this case. The entry, we're going to take the top line here, 21.27. 21.27 is the entry. Our stop loss, the bottom number there is 21.07. I'm going to take off 10 cents, give it a little bit more wiggle room. So that's going to be 20.97. Our safety target we'll figure out in a second. Our final target is going to be this number here, 26.71. Again, we'll figure out our anticipated risk per share in a second as well. So that's the entry, stop loss, and final target. We're going to go to TradingView to finish off this trade and place it and fill in a couple more of those important details. Okay, so let's bring up TradingView. Let me just open that again to check speak up. Brilliant. So let's go to ACI on both counts. So should be earnings came out in January. So not again until roughly Wednesday, the 12th of April. So let's put that in. So what that means is, again, So April 12th, you guys do it the wrong way around. We have room to stay in this trade for a little while based on a few things. We've got earnings not for another couple of months, and we've got no sellers in the way until around the 26 mark. So we've still got, again, something that we want to be aware of, which is room on the auto climate to take it to its, not extreme, but we were early on in that movement. So we've got lots of things in our favor. But of course, that doesn't mean that things go 100% right all of the time. We still manage our risk, which is what we're going to figure this out now. I'm just going to draw in onto the chart so we can see exactly what we're doing. So 21.27 is the entry, 20.97 is the stop loss. So around about that area. Our final target was up here, which is 26.71. Oh, not the interval. I want my final target at that. 26.71. So all the way up here, right? That's a really decent risk to reward. Now, in terms of our safety target, let's figure that out. So our entry price being 21.27 and our stop loss at 20.97 means that we are risking 30, it says ticks, but obviously this is a US stock, so it's cents, 30 cents per share, risking 30 cents per share. If the risk is 30 cents, then so too is the first target in terms of profit in cents. So that means 21.57 is going to be our safety target. Again, let's add this to here. So 21.57, and that's information we want to have. Okay, we'll bring that back up in a second. So we've got our entry, our stop, our safety target, and our final target. And I've just seen the note about auto climate. I'll come back to you in a second on that. And now let's just figure out our risk. So I'm going to assume, and this is a random example, you pick what's right for you, that we want to risk $50 on either side of the trade, right? So either target, basically, we're risking $50 to get each target. Now that means 166 shares. Now, obviously 166 shares times $21.27, can't do the maths quickly in my head. You might not be able to do that. You might want to do more than that. You choose however many shares that you want. You might say, I'm going to put two shares on each side. So you're risking $60 on each side. Or you might say, I've got a really big account. I want to risk $1,000 on each side. Fine, but you pick what's right for you. I'm just going to put in $50 as a nice average because it makes 100 together, right? 50 on each side. Risk per share is $30. But if you're going to do, a share is 30 cents. If you're going to do two sides of the trade, then obviously it's a 60-cent risk in total per trade. Okay, so that's the trade there. Let's now put this on. I'm going to put the time in force as GTD, put that in. And in terms of buying, again, we're going to do the same thing. So 21.27 is the entry. Stop loss is the same. Our profit target in this case is just our final target, which is 26.71. And same risk, $50 again as an assumption. It's a nice random number. That means this half of the trade is an 18-1. I'll be real with you. The chances of hitting an 18-1 are very low. So probably, if we're right on this trade, we'll probably take profit somewhere between our entry and this final target, because probably something's going to change between now and then. The further our target is away, the more likely there is that something's going to change. But we'll put it in because, hey, we might be right. It might go all the way there. And if it does, great, we'll take that profit. If it doesn't and something changes in between, we'll deal with that too. Okay, so the question was specifically on auto climate was around early and late, etc. So let's just quickly go back to top to show you this. So if we're looking at ACI, interestingly on top, it's giving us slightly different data. So I'll tell you what, we'll look at it on TradingView. So on TradingView, with this example of the trade, I'm going to make this really big so we can see it a bit better. So we can see that typically, we should have the data there. Oh, for some reason, data is not available on this one. But let's say typically, I think this market went up for 5 candles. If it's the first or second candle out of 5, then it's early. If it's the latter half of that, so it's still before 5, then that would be sensible. If it's after 5, then it's hopeful. And if it's more than 2 times past 5, then it's late. So it's essentially compared to what it usually goes up for, where is it on that spectrum? I personally am happy to keep taking trades as long as I've got probability. I might change what I risk if I'm later on that pathway, but if I've still got probability up with no sellers in the way, I'm still willing to take the trade. I just might risk less than if I'm at the start of that move. So again, the definition of early, sensible, hopeful, and late are all to do with how close you are to the usual move. If that makes sense. But again, let me know if it doesn't. Have you used tools and tops like Tom strength levels and speed bumps? Good question. So with top, you've got different tools on here that you might not necessarily find in other platforms. There's loads of tools that you will find in other platforms, but top's got some specifics. Now, just to show you, so if you go to add study, you've got loads of things on here. So this one was specifically speed bumps and Tom strength levels. So Tom strength levels as an example, you can click on that. Brilliant. And then you can customize it however you want to and use that in that way. I personally don't use those tools. So it's not to say that they're not good. It's just that that's not how I trade. There are literally just on top, 30, 40 different indicators or tools you could use, times by, if you use more than one of those, the combinations of tools that people use. I keep it very simple. I use auto climate, auto UFOs, and the EMA. I use those 3 tools. Could you layer things on top of this to make it even better? Yeah, you'd need to back test it to prove that it works with your strategy. I tend to use just variations of those 3 tools. So it might be that I back test a different EMA, or it might be that I back test just using auto climate as a way to get in and out on my longer term investments, as an example. So the answer is, I don't use those tools, but by all means, try them, use them, back test them, more importantly, and see if it adds probability to what you're doing. If it does, keep doing it. If it doesn't, don't use it. So the combination of all of those tools and indicators will be what gives you your results. So play around, basically, and get the back testing. Okay, brilliant. So let's now, we've done a stock trade on a higher time frame. So let's now look at a daily chart on the left, and we're going to look at some Forex trades. In fact, maybe we'll look even lower for Forex, and then we'll do, let's do 60-minute on the left for Forex. And again, I'm going to use top just so I can see this number in the top right-hand side. The numbers will differ because, of course, different exchanges will give you slightly different prices when we look at TradingView. So I'm only going to use it to kind of identify that the opportunity is there. Then I'll do the rest on TradingView, only because I want to use this number in the top right-hand side. So let's look at some Forex pairs. So let's do the standard euro dollar. Most people trade that. A lot of people trade that. So let's have a look. It's 8-minute on the right-hand side, but I will look around. So euro dollar on a 60-minute chart doesn't have any probabilities either way. We've got a thin dot, so no point looking. Let's look euro yen. By the way, just to say, I've gone straight in to looking at currency pairs. You might, as part of your Forex trading plan, decide to look at what news is coming out. The FX Street economic calendar is really good for that, to choose to avoid certain pairs or reduce your risk on certain pairs. So by all means, if that's part of your process, do that. That would typically be part of my process, but I'm doing this now just to show you different examples you could be trading. Okay, so pound yen. Now here's a little bit of a intricacy, call it, with auto climate. So technically speaking, I'm just checking here if there's questions. Technically speaking, this market usually goes up for 6 candles and we're on the 8th candle. So technically speaking, we're in that hopeful phase, right? We've gone past what's normal in terms of a move to the upside. However, the first 6, thank you, Tracy, the first 6 of those candles out of the 8 that we're on were unconfirmed, meaning we didn't really have full probabilities. So we've only really had full probabilities for the last 2. So again, this depends on how strict you want to be. I would, and I think Bo would as well, and I mean, check his videos, but I think Bojan is the same as me, and I believe Jose too, will ignore the unconfirmed candles there because they don't really count. Now, if you're stricter, then what you'd say is, well, it still was slightly up. It wasn't a confirmed upwards climate, but it was unconfirmed up. So it still had movement to the upside for 8 candles, confirmed or not. So I'm shooting past what's normal. I'm going to stay away from it. That would be the more conservative thing to do. And probably what you do is save yourself more losses, but you might also miss out on opportunity. And it's the balance of those things. For me, I'm going to, and I won't necessarily speak for Bojan and Jose, check their sessions as well to see, but I'm going to ignore those and say that we're on 2 out of 6. I think that might make sense as to why. Okay, so pound yen, probability up. We've got room to take it to the closest set of sellers on a 60-minute chart. I'm going to look at an 8-minute chart on the right-hand side, see what our probabilities are. And we want to find a green UFO that coincides with this number, which is 158.35, which we have, and it's got a 65% probability rate. Again, take that with a pinch of salt because it's not necessarily 65% probable that we hit this target. It's 65% probable that if price were to hit a UFO, it would then hit the opposing UFO on the same time frame, which, to be fair, is still reasonable distance. Okay, so we have our setup. So let's open one of these so we can see what we're doing. So the ticker symbol is, this is a pound yen trade. We are going long, so 2 long trades so far. Our entry is 158, so 0.44. We're going to add a couple of pips to that. So it's going to be 0.4. Well, no, that's already rounded, so 0.46. We'll add a couple of pips for the spread. Now, I'm just going to check before we do this. I'm going to look at it on TradingView and just see that it exists there. It usually will be the same, but let's have a look. It's going to be slightly different maybe for numbers, but I just want to make sure we have the accurate numbers. So let's choose our under. And by the way, if you're trading Forex and you trade with FXCM or Plus 500 or whatever platform, make sure that you're using the numbers that are coming from the platform or the broker that you are using. No point copying numbers that are from a different broker's quote. Okay, so let's put the UFO on and see. It was an 8-minute chart. Yeah, 8 minutes. Move that out of the way for a second and just check. Yeah, so 15844. Perfect, brilliant. So same thing. I'm going to take this UFO. I'm going to draw around it just to make that really easy, and then we'll plug it in. So 158.46 is going to be the entry. The stop loss, we're going to take that bottom number, 158.223, round it down to 0.22, and take off 5 to 0.17 to give us a little bit of wiggle room. Brilliant. So that's our entry and our stop. Now, let's put that in here. So 158.46 to 158.17. So if my maths is right, that's 29 pips, but we'll see. You do the maths in a minute. In terms of our final target, again, let's check here. On a 60-minute. A final target on a 60-minute chart is going to be this red UFO here, which is at 159.221. Just going to round that down. So 159.22. Brilliant. So that's our final target. We'll figure out our safety target in a second. Let's put this on. 158.46 to 158.17, 29. That was good maths from me. Our profit target, let's put our final target in first, which is 159.22. Again, I'm going to risk $50, but let's say a lot is going to be $2.21 per micro lot. $2.21 per side. Actually, could be smaller, but we'll do that. So $2.21. Our final target was 159.22. And we'll figure out our safety target in a second. So let's put that in. By the way, you could also be more complex on this and give it a time and force of a particular, so good till date, that's choosing the date there, of a particular date. Or you could do it, forever. That's also fine, or for a month, or for a week, or for a day. You could do that again based on auto climate. So we'll see. If you wanted to be more specific, you could do that. But I think because it's a small time frame and we're close to entry, it's unlikely that we need to be that specific, but you could be. Okay, so same entry, which is 158.46, same stop loss, which is 158.17. 29 pips is the risk, then 29 pips is the reward. And that takes us to 158.7. Not an interval. 158.75. Brilliant. So let's fill that in here. 158.75. So this again is the snapshot of the trade that we're taking. And again, you might want to take a picture of that so you can have a look at it later. Okay, so both sides have gone in. In fact, the first side, I think I didn't put $50, so I'm just going to edit that on the first side. So let's go here. So paper trading, orders. Brilliant. So I'm just going to edit this buy limit here. And I'm going to put $50 and modify the order. It should automatically do the others. It has. Brilliant. So just to show you what I did there. So you might do what I've just done and not put the right risk in that you want. Or you might realize you put the wrong entry in or something. You just go to wherever you're trading from. In this case, it's paper trading. So we're putting on trades across asset classes. And you go and find that order. And you click the little pencil to edit it. And then you can edit those things there and modify it. So you don't have to cancel it and put it on again, basically. From TradingView, at least. I personally really like using TradingView for order placement. Okay, brilliant. So just checking again if there are any questions. Just reviewing that. Looks good. Okay. So we've done longer term swing trading to position trading in a stock trade. We've done day trading on a currency. So now let's have a look at cryptocurrency. That's the third asset class really that I could go through with you. And for that, we're going to look at swing trading. I would personally argue, and this is just a personal preference, so people have obviously different personal preferences, that with cryptocurrencies, we want to try and avoid small time frames just because the spreads are huge and it's a more volatile market. So the smaller your risk, the more likely you are to get stopped out. However, are there people that make decent money day trading cryptos? For sure. So I'm not saying don't do it or that it's not a profitable strategy. I'm just saying my reasoning for why I don't do that, because you might resonate with it. So what we're going to look at here is I want to go to coin market cap. And we'll just use this as a reference. So we'll look at the cryptos that have essentially highest volume I want to look at. So I'm not going to look at Tether just because it's basically the same as the US dollar. So we'll look at Bitcoin, so BTC, USD, and then we'll come through and have a look at these things. Okay, so BTC, USD. For this, we're going to stay on TradingView. I'm going to just choose Bitstamp because it's the top one. Again, look at the one that you are trading. I'm going to put a daily on the left-hand side, and then we'll see what we do on the right-hand side. Looks like we're in a... Oh, okay. So let me just explain why I got excited and then didn't. So we've got a thick blue dot, probability upwards. We're also within, so it's first dot of however many, we're also within buyers. We've got lots of buyers that we are inside right now, meaning there's buying pressure right now. However, we have just crossed the EMA, meaning we would have wiped out any UFOs that are around that area. Now we could have a look at a 55-minute chart and see if there is still a UFO at exactly where we're at now. On a look at a 60-minute, I'm also going to look at a 240 and 144. Doesn't look like we have any UFOs on the right-hand side that are coinciding with the EMA, which is not surprising because we've just crossed the EMA. So we would have taken out those UFOs. So unfortunate. Again, you might be somebody that says, you know what, I'm going to take the daily UFO. No problem. Do that. You've got lots of room to take it till its next daily red UFO or sell UFO. So you could do that. But for me, I'm going to stick to the rules specifically, and we don't have anything on the right-hand side that's coinciding. So we'll look at the next market. So BUSD, let's see if I can just put in BUSD, if that just opens up. BUSDT. Let's do BUSD versus the USD. Lovely. It's a very choppy market. Look at that. That's very much, yeah, kind of all over the place there. Let's see. Do it against that one, might be a little bit better. Okay. Yeah. So when we saw before, it was really choppy, really wicky. Again, I'd want to avoid markets like that, like the plague. We also have, if you see this, let's just try and make this big for now. I just want to show you this in a lot more detail. If you look at the auto climate here, yeah, we've got a string of upwards probability here, but still very wicky, still very much moving all over the place. And then we've got unconfirmed, 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 confirmed, confirmed, unconfirmed, confirmed, confirmed, unconfirmed, confirmed, confirmed, unconfirmed, unconfirmed, unconfirmed. And the market's basically gone sideways for months. So at the moment, what we're seeing is a bunch of indecision in this market. I know we've got these massive wicks potentially either side, but the market's pretty much, you could draw a straight line here, pretty much gone sideways. Right, move that up and down that range as you want, but I would want to avoid that market, basically. It's not showing us that there's decent opportunity in it. So look at the next one, Ethereum. So Ethereum US dollar. Ethereum US dollar, this one looks a little bit better. Let's have a look. Okay, again, just checking if there's any questions. You guys let me know. Okay, so for Ethereum, we have thick blue dot, and it's the start of that move. We went from lots of upward probability to sideways to upwards to sideways. Now just started another move up. So probability up and decent in terms of early. Now we also have buyers quite close beneath us, which is great. And we've got a little bit of room to take it to the sellers. We might not have enough room, but we'll see what opportunities we have. Now, if we can look, we might not be able to, but if we can look at Ethereum on top, brilliant, then we can look at the time frames. So we had a daily on the left. So I just want to look from top's perspective, which time frame has the highest probability. Taking just a second to load there. Let's even see if we've got an opportunity on a 55. So the EMA is 1643.49, which is within the UFO that we have right here, that we're inside right now. So we could do that. And then let's just look at the, oh, that's on a 144. Look at a 55, tying that up a little bit. 1643, brilliant. So it's also fitting within this one here. So on a 55 and a 144, we've got opportunity. So let's use top to tell us which one would be better. So on the 55, it's a 57% chance. And on the 144, it's a 42% chance. Let's go with 55, right? That's what's great about these things, is that it's really logical and methodical. I'm not, oh, I don't know, because what about that, this, or what about that, or what about the shape of it or the pattern? It's just which number's higher, right? And at the moment, 55-minute chart has a higher number, so that's what we'll go for. Makes it super easy. Brilliant. So we're going to use this combination. Daily chart on the left, so we're swing trading, 55-minute chart on the right, and we're using this UFO here. Again, another long. We've done a few longs today. Looks like we've just about got room to take it to the sell orders, so it'll be a low reward to risk, but still enough for us to take it. We're going to go 1661.6 is going to be the entry. Now, in terms of stop loss, so let's take 1627.4 as the original there. I'm just going to bring up a calculator. So 1661.6 minus 1627.4 is 34.2 pips, right? Or the smallest increment of price. I want to make that 20% bigger. I want to make that risk area 20% bigger. So that takes me to 41.04 in terms of pips, and I'm just going to round that up. So this is 42 pips. So 1661 minus 42, or 0.60 even, sorry, so 1661.60 minus 42 is 1619.6. Brilliant. So we've just added a little bit more wiggle room there than we might with other markets because cryptos are a little bit more volatile. Now, just to see that we've got room to take this. So let's see. So we click buy. 1661.6 is the entry. Stop loss 1619.6. Now my target would be 1720.8. Brilliant. So that number there says 1.41, which is the reward to risk between your entry and target versus your entry to your stop loss. So we've got a 1.41. Basically, we want that to be anything above 1. So the fact that it's 1.41 is enough. It's not a lot, right? You're not going to make loads, but it's still enough to potentially take a little bit out of this market. Okay, so I'm going to put $50 worth of risk on here. I'm going to draw in where we would have our target, which is 1720.8. Right. Safety target is exactly 1-to-1 away, so same entry. Oh. I don't know why I clicked that. Lovely. Stop loss exactly the same. Risk exactly the same. $50. Obviously, with crypto, you can be really, really specific as to what percentage of a coin you're going to be buying or selling. So you can be really, really accurate on risk, actually. Then our profit is 4,200 or 42, right? Okay, so that's the other half in. So that means our safety target was 1703.60. Oh, that's very close then. Let me just bring this up for you on a sticky note. So bring that up. So the ticker symbol, this was Ethereum versus the US dollar. We're going long. The entry, 1661.60. On Bitstamp this was. So again, it might be slightly different on your platforms. Use the ones that you're actually trading through or your brokers that you're trading through. 1619.60 is going to be our stop loss. Safety target, 1703.6. And final target is 1720.80. The risk per lot, I mean, you could make it anything because it's going to be per coin if you want to do it per coin. So let's take a look at that. So let's say the reason I say it could be anything is that your minimum price fluctuation is going to be really, really low, right? 0.0000001 of a coin you could do, I guess. But let's take a look. So let's assume per coin, per whole coin, it's, where do we put that? I've just completely lost it. That's weird. There it is. Brilliant. So per coin is $42, but that's, I mean, I'm going to put per coin here. again, that could be much lower, much lower. Okay, so we have now put in 3 different trades on 3 different asset classes. I'm going to bring them up so we can see them all. So we had a stock one. There we go, good. So we had stocks, Forex, and crypto. I'll just move the crypto one over. These were the 3 trades that we put on today. Again, different asset classes, different time frames. The stocks one, I'm just going to put down here. This was a 1 week, and I believe it was a 144. It's 2 day, I believe. 1 week, 2 day. On the Forex one, we looked at a 60-minute and then an 8-minute. And then on the crypto one, we looked at a 1 day and then a 55-minute chart. So we've looked at 3 different asset classes, 3 different sets of time frames, but pretty much the exact same thing. It changes slightly. You might want to care about earnings a bit more with stocks. Your leverage is obviously much less with stocks than it would be with cryptos or Forex, or at least your ability to manipulate the risk that you're using. Forex is open all the time, 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. Cryptos are open 7 days a week. So cryptos you might hold for much longer. Forex you might want to be out by Friday. Stocks you might want to be out by the end of the day if you're day trading. If you're longer term trading, then you'll hold it. So there's going to be slightly different applications depending on the time frames or depending on the markets. But each time, what we did is look at, let me just move this out of the way, is look at auto climate on the left-hand side. Was it probability up or down? In today's case, it was up every time, but could have been up or down. How early were we or late were we into a typical move to that direction? What was the EMA on that higher time frame? Did we have a UFO on the lower time frame that coincided with that EMA? And did we have room to take it to its opposing level? Every time, regardless of what we trade, which again is nice because it means you don't have to learn something completely new just because you're trading a different market. That's not to say, by the way, just go and place trades on everything. No, like figure out what markets suit you based on the capital you need to trade it, the risk parameters you can put on it, the time of day that you're around to trade them for, the time frames that make the most sense for them, and all of that kind of thing. Brilliant. Let me just see if there are any other questions. Now is your chance, guys. I'll hang about for another minute or so, just because there's not really enough time to get into a full other trade. So let me know if there are any roundup questions. As I give you that time to do that, I'm just going to show you again where you can go for certain information. I'm going to repeat that if you want the user guides for auto climate and or auto UFOs, once you're in your login area, you should be able to find it through the website. But if not, you can email us support@tradewithufos.com and then we'll send it directly to you so that you've got it. You also have tradewithufos.com/Becky. And from that link, you can check out different things anyway. So you can check out apps, courses, coaching. You can log in from there. From here, you can specifically book one-on-one coaching with me. You can check out, these are more historical trades now, so that you can learn from the snapshots and the notes, how we manage the trades, why certain trades would have been cancelled and things like that. So you can learn from that. Check out more of the different solutions, apps, courses, brokers, all of that, or platforms. The Q&A section. By all means, email me. I'm very happy to answer any questions by email. But if you cannot ask the questions in a public place, that's much better because it means that other people can also learn from it. In the same way, you might find that there's questions here that you can learn from by coming to it. So that's tradewithufos.com/Becky. I'm just checking and it doesn't look like there are any other questions. So we will wrap up for now. My email address is becky@tradewithufos.com. So for those that are watching recorded, you can email me on that, or you can use this link here, tradewithufos.com/Becky. Post a question. I will wish you guys happy trading, whatever you're trading, whatever timeframes, whatever markets. Be careful, manage your risk, but have fun whilst you do it, and see you next time. Bye-bye.